angifuni ukuyiphazamisa mhlawumbe izosisiza. Good morning, colleagues. Welcome to this meeting with REF, or on REF, which is also our last meeting for the year, with the disclaimer that if there's an urgent matter, we do have permission to meet during the holidays. So ningawavala phone. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the Minister of Transport and the Ministry, the Department, Chairperson of the Board and the Board members present, the CEO and the executives, the SIU who is present here this morning, Auditor General who are present this morning as well. Colleagues, we're going to start, but I thought I should give a background as to why we are here. Because we have traversed a particular journey on this REF matter. I'd like to welcome the members of the Portfolio Committee as well. I know the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee will be joining us shortly as well. The Road Accident Fund has appeared before us on various matters, including addressing the ongoing litigation undertaken by REF against the Auditor General due to a disagreement between REF and AG regarding the appropriateness of the Road Accident Fund amending its accounting policy in the 2020-2021 financial year and using IPSAS 42, which has not been prescribed for use in South Africa by the Accounting Standards Board. The fund continued to utilize the principles of IPSAS 42 in the 22-23 financial year to account for the provision for claims liabilities resulting in an adverse audit outcome from the Auditor General. The overall audit outcome of the fund remains modified since the use of IPSAS 42. On the 19th of April 2023, REF appeared before SCOPA for a hearing on the 2020-2021 annual report and financial statements, wherein the Deputy Minister shared with the committee that a letter was written by the Department of Transport with a directive for REF to withdraw the case against the Auditor General unconditionally due to the legal obligation of the Road Accident Fund to report to Parliament. In the meeting, it emerged that the REF executives and the board maintained their stance on the changed accounting policy that led to the dispute with the Auditor General, consequently leaving the committee back where it was at the previous meeting with the Road Accident Fund in September 2022. As a result, the committee vehemently expressed its lack of confidence in the board, whose term of office had in fact expired in December 2022. The committee subsequently conducted oversight visits to REF offices in mainland Pretoria on the 23rd of June 2023 and to the Parktown and Centurion offices on 16 August 2023, where adverse findings were made pertaining to the state of affairs at the public entity. Furthermore, the committee has received numerous requests for intervention and complaints about the Road Accident Fund from bodies such as the Law Society of South Africa, the Organization Undoing Tax Abuse, and the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, amongst others. In fact, we were served with another set of papers last week relating to the financial administration taking place at the public entity. On 30 August, the committee met with REF to hear the status of the 2020-2021 disclaimed audit outcome dispute and to provide a response to the committee's findings that emanated from the oversight visits. In this meeting, the Deputy Minister shared that the Ministry had written to REF to confirm the communication made by the previous Minister that the public entity should seek an alternative dispute resolution and withdraw the litigation. The Auditor General also shared that the outcome of their meeting with REF on 16 May 2023 was that as long as REF continued with the litigation, the AG would also be compelled to continue with the litigation. The committee met with REF again on 29 November 2023, wherein it emerged that the public entity has proceeded with the litigation and also filed heads of argument on 30 October 2023 relating to Part B of the application, which is still pending in the High Court, despite the directive from the Executive Authority to withdraw the litigation against AXA unconditionally. The committee also learned that the new board was appointed on 1 October 23. However, the new board chairperson shared that the board was not privy to the said heads of arguments being filed, leaving the committee fundamentally worried and concerned about the state of affairs at REF, as well as the level of authority exercised by the board. In this regard, due to the absence of the key executive members from the fund and the department in the meeting on 29 November 2023, the meeting today serves as a follow-up to address some of the key issues, including but not limited to the status of the litigation, the tabling of the 21-22 annual report and financial statements, the appointment of the new board, and the 2022-2023 audit outcomes. So I thought I should provide that background as to explaining why we are here, because the main issue is on litigation. Colleagues, I had asked that all correspondence be circulated. I think you did receive it, all the correspondence that's pertinent to this matter. So with that background, I'm going to request that if we hand over to the Minister, if there's any opening remarks, and then we'll go to the chair of the board, and then we'll come to you, colleagues, then for the interactive session. And I want to thank the presiding officers for giving us authority to meet this morning, as the House is sitting at 10 o'clock, and they've agreed, given the seriousness of this matter. Ordinarily, we are all supposed to be in the House this morning at 10 o'clock. Honorable Minister, good morning, and I would like to then hand over to you for remarks on your side.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, Honorable Hlengwa, and honorable members of the committee, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Transport, Ms. Manali Soma, and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, Chairperson of the Board of Road Accident Fund, Deputy Chairperson of the Board of Road Accident Fund, members of the board, delegates to the meeting, CEOs, CEO of Road Accident Fund, Acting Director General of the Department of Transport, and DDG responsible for roads, leadership of the Special Investigation Unit, led by Advocate Motibi, senior representatives of the Office of the Auditor General of South Africa, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Chairperson, we have once again heeded your call to come and account before your committee on critical matters affecting the Road Accident Fund. And it is our long-held view that SCOPA is a committee of parliament that exercises its function and responsibilities with great care as it guards the country's public accounts. To that effect, as the executive authority to which the Road Accident Fund accounts, I will ensure that at all times, when called to account on matters related to SCOPA, be it the Road Accident Fund or any other entity in the transport space, we avail ourselves to the committee, primarily to demonstrate the values of accountability, transparency, and integrity in line with the governance ethos adopted by the Sixth Administration. I must again, Chairperson, indicate that at some stage, personally, I'm not able to attend, as SCOPA meetings sit on Wednesdays, and it's Cabinet Day, but also is it the Asset Day. So if you have an item on the cabinet agenda, you are expected to attend. We have got 6 for that matter, and that is why I could not attend last week. We had 6 items on a cabinet agenda, hence I was not able to attend, but it is never to undermine the committee at all. But of course the Deputy Minister has actually been attending, representing the ministry. I have also seen the agenda, Chair, and items to be discussed today, and just allow me to provide this concise background on some of the issues that may need context. And this is my view that that this will assist in clearing misunderstanding that, if not explained, there might actually be problems. Let me at the forefront highlight that the matter regarding Road Accident Fund and the Auditor General of South Africa dispute or a court case remain my biggest concern in relation to rough turnaround process. Just on the matter, I've had numerous engagement with Road Accident Fund leadership, both the board and management, firstly to gain understanding of the issues at hand and broadly to provide guidance as executive authority. This matter, of course, as you will be aware, Chair, it does precede my appointment as Minister in this portfolio. As such, I needed to be brought to speed on specific matters of this dispute. I have gathered that there is a technical accounting dispute, and that because of its complexity, it has resulted in a legal tussle between the Road Accident Fund and Auditor General of South Africa. Though the two are related, I'm convinced that they can be handled separately to ensure that we reach an amicable solution quicker. In that regard, I believe that we do need a technical team that will look into the matter and find a solution, and that's what the chairperson maybe will also elaborate on the audit standard itself, then of course the case at hand. Chairperson, at all material times I have impressed the board on my wish and aspiration to consider alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, as I believe that the two government institutions should not be fighting each other in the court of law. I've personally had conversation with the AG herself in person on the matter. There will be no winners, no matter which direction the court judgment goes. There won't be any winner. It is my long-held view that both parties must engage and seek a less confrontational mechanism outside the court. That has been communicated in all our engagements and also relayed through our shareholder representative in the board. And even during the annual general meeting, where we adopted and signed off the annual report of Road Accident Fund and their financial statement, we raised this matter as the shareholder. I'm happy to say that I have not at any point sensed that there was any antagonistic view from the side of Road Accident Fund and even from the side of the AG when I interacted with the AG herself. I can also confirm that I've been kept abreast of all endeavors the board has undertaken to engage the AG, including escalating to myself to initiate such engagements. I have done that, Chair. In actual fact, I've received feedback that the AG in writing has articulated that once an opinion has been issued, it cannot be exposed to any form of dispute resolution, as that would actually be tantamount to negotiating its own issued opinion. Even on this one, we have had some engagement. My presentation to the committee today is that we ascertain that both parties are amenable to a resolution process so that we can collectively trot the way forward to find a lasting resolution to both the legal and technical dispute in this regard. The issue, Chairperson, is that the former board took a resolution on this one matter. It is important to also understand the implications at this moment now of changing the policy to Road Accident Fund. And that is why we have therefore allowed the board to look into this matter. And I want to believe that the chairperson of the board will therefore explain as to what the board has actually said post the last Wednesday meeting. We do have a new board chairperson, and it is true. And one of the priority matters that it is required to find a solution to is this one matter, of course, with agency. Another matter that I want to clarify, which the board highlighted to me, Chair, pertains to the perceived proximity of road accident fund to power, as alluded by, of course, the chairperson. This board will subject itself to all kinds of accountability, chairperson, at all times during its tenure. From the shareholders' perspective, no amount of proximity to power will exempt any board within the transport sector from its responsibilities and duties. The board has expressed its consent to that perception and has requested that I address it to ensure that it is corrected. I must indicate, chairperson, that I'm definitely not close to the board personally. To be honest with you, I may not even be knowing some of the members of the board, either than the fact that they are serving in the board. There is therefore no proximity that is beyond the fact that it is the board. They are members of the board of Road Accident Fund. I just want also to say something about the Road Accident Fund Annual Report 2021-2022. Chairperson and honorable members, I wish to state that the issue around the non-tabling of the Road Accident Fund Annual Report 2021-2022 is being given attention. I have no precedence on this matter to can learn from as to how you deal with such a report. Since it is my responsibility, however, as the executive authority to table it, I wish to indicate that the Road Accident Fund did submit the report to me. However, there are clarity-seeking matters that I need to consider before tabling, primarily to ensure prudence and legality, given the current technical dispute and legal processes underway. Also, given that the Auditor General of South Africa has tabled its version of the audit report, I've requested that the legal teams of the Department of Transport and Road Accident Fund engage their counterparts in Parliament for proper guidance that will empower me to effect tabling. I expect this clarity to be provided as soon as possible so that I can close that gap. I was indeed even advised, Chair, that like we're supposed to do with all annual reports and financial statements, an AGM might have to be convened just for this one so that we sign off everything. And I've just seek legal opinion because at the time I was not the Minister of Transport, whether I can do that now. So these are the issues that we're just dealing with per se. Chairperson, as I conclude, assisted by the delegated members of the board and the CEO and his executive, will want to engage the committee and provide response and context to issues raised by the committee. When necessary and applicable, the department, of course, will fill the matters as pertaining to the responsibilities of the department. Chairperson, I look forward to a fruitful engagement with the hope that it will lead to key issues of concern being adequately addressed, and that will chart a path for a cordial relationship between key government stakeholders. Where we don't find each other, it is my wish that we explore avenues that will bring us together to ensure that we advance the goals and objectives of government for the betterment of lives of citizens of our beautiful country. Chairperson, at this moment, I will request that we allow the chairperson of the board maybe to take us through what transpired post the last week Wednesday meeting with SCOPA, if that is allowed. Thank you very much, Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson of the Committee, Honorable Members, Honorable Minister of Transport, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Transport, the board members that are in attendance, the CEO of the RAF, members of the AG, members of the SIU in the room, and all protocol observed. Chairperson, I thank you, Minister, for that elaborate presentation. Chairperson, it is true that last week we came and presented our 2022-23 our annual report. We also presented our performance report on the same, and then the auditors also presented. But there was one matter that was outstanding regarding the position of the current board on the current litigation with the Auditor General. Chair, subsequent to that meeting, we had a board meeting that was scheduled on the 1st of December. I think that was a couple of days after the SCOPA meeting of the 29th. And the matter, I gave the board the feedback regarding that meeting on the 29th and the expectation of this committee regarding the litigation with the Auditor General. Chairperson, the board, they did say that they know that this matter is critical. It is top of their agenda, and it is a very complex matter in the sense that it is, involves legalities. And with legal matters, they need to go through the very information that the previous board went through. And they also reiterated, especially on the part of the audit committee. The audit committee is charged with the responsibility to make sure that any unresolved issues between the auditor and the auditee is resolved. And this being a new audit committee, they need to then go through both sides of the story regarding the genesis of this matter before they can take a decision. So the resolution that was then taken at that board was to give me a mandate to request the honorable portfolio committee, to just give them time until the end of January to consider the matter and all the relevant information in this regard, to actually check whether they will come to the same decision as the previous board or not on the matter. And so, Chairperson, I'm therefore requesting humbly this committee to afford the board up until end of January to go through the information and then resolve on the matter regarding the litigation with the Auditor General. And Chairperson, on the matter regarding the submission of the heads of arguments, I think that was another matter that remained outstanding from the last meeting we had on the 29th. That was also presented to the full board. Remember that the full board has management team in attendance. And I raised the issue that was raised by the committee. I was informed that management, first of all, that the filing of the heads of arguments is a standard process on matters that are already in court. And management therefore proceeded under the understanding that the previous board's decision at this stage remained unchanged. So they took it as an operational due process that was required of them in terms of the court requirement to submit. However, they knew that that information still needs to be presented before the board. So the matter went to the legal subcommittee of the board that week before the meeting of the 1st of December. So they were expecting that on the 1st of December, the board would be fully informed on that process that unfolded at the end of October. And on the 1st of December, so that matter was deliberated and they gave us that information. So it so happened that the meeting of SCOPA happened before the meeting of the board of the 1st of December, where management were going to informally inform the board of that matter. Remember that the board, we only meet on set meetings. We are not at the Road Accident Fund on a regular basis. Our mandate doesn't extend to that extent. And then, Chair, the promise I've made to meet with the Auditor General, that meeting also happened on the 4th of December. That was was it Monday? I'm getting confused on the dates, yes. We met with the representatives of the Office of the Auditor General. I think they did state that she herself was not available to attend that meeting. However, she allowed her senior managers to come and represent her. And their instruction was that they only can deal with the matters relating to the technical issue, because they were not allowed to deal with the litigation in the absence of their legal representatives. So on the 4th of December, we went through the nitty-gritties and the issues around the technical matter. I think we agreed, we came in agreement to the fact that it's very important to come with a technical solution, because that is the critical matter at the root of the litigation. And also, it is a critical matter to deal with the future objective in terms of how they audit the RAF, to deal with the issue of making sure that the financial statements of the RAF fairly present the affairs of the organization, given the existing disputes. So we engage with that understanding. And also we understood the importance of the fact that we need to try and resolve this matter, even, working together in trying to get the standard setting body to come up with some sort of a directive to just assist in terms of how the next audit that is due at beginning of next year should be taken regarding this matter. So we agreed in principle that it's important that we work together and put a technical team, some sort of a technical committee consisting of the REF technical experts and the audit committee, the AG. But the AG also stated that it's very critical to understand that they are auditors. So it's not their responsibility to make a decision on an accounting matter. That's why we agree that the Office of the Accountant General needs to be part of that, but the ASP would be the one that will determine how this matter would be resolved. So we agree that that technical committee should commence, but the main critical role player would be the ASP and also the Office of the Accountant General. So that was the resolution that was taken, that we start with the technical team and fast track as much as possible to try and resolve the matter before the end of the financial year. In that manner, there should be a temporary solution to deal with the issue, if the long-term solution by that time would not have been arrived at. So in that regard, Chairperson, to give this committee some timeline on the matter, we are trying to resolve the matter before the end of March, which is the next financial year. But we've charged the audit committee to run with that matter from the RAF side and then engage with the various stakeholders in this regard, as I've mentioned. And their mandate is to try and come up with a technical solution by end of March. And then the committee will be given an update at that stage. Chairperson, I will then allow the CEO of the Road Accident Fund to elaborate further. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning to all members. Good morning, Minister, the Chairperson of the Board and Board members and the Executive of RAF, the SIU and the AGSA. I would not add much.
May I ask, do you want to go on a full-blown matter? Because the Minister has raised matters and the Board Chair has raised some matters, which I thought that we must get into a decision on such matters even before we allow the CEO to say anything in respect of the matters raised by the Executive Authority and confirmed by the Accounting Authority. And it suffices to say our indulgence should be on the matters as raised appropriately, because if you allow the CEO to get into a similar instance. It might get into a deeper instance, not necessarily required in terms of decision making on the matters which have been raised. I so wish to propose that probably we deal with the matters in that kind of sequence. I don't know what is your view.
No, I assumed that the chair had spoken at a high level and had said there were issues which were of an operational nature, which had, my understanding is that we raised issues, for example, around the filing of heads of argument. There's technical things that she had a disclaimer, which they are not always there, and they meet on schedule. So my understanding was that she was handing over to CEO to clarify matters since they were last here in the meetings they've had up to today. So I think let's momentarily hear what is being delegated to the CEO. We can take notes. There's no rush. We are here the whole day. And hear what he has to say. I just assumed Utu Slalo was handing over to technical issues because she says the meeting of the 4th dealt with the technical aspects, if my hearing was correct. So let's momentarily, I beg your indulgence, let's hear the executives, please. Then we'll engage on it. Right, Honorable Hadebe and then Honorable Ramadwa. In that order, just stand by as CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I hear your point, but there was one issue that made us not to be able to proceed. Hence, we had requested the board to gather relevant information and come back to us with a response. And I think both the chair and the executive authority have alluded to what was outstanding, and they are making a proposal and a submission before the House. There are still other outstanding matters that we would want to deal with, which over and above the issue of court we could not do in the previous meeting. Now I would like to first, let's get over and done with this matter and the proposal of the board chair. She's requesting time until end of January, so that if we agree with, then we don't deal with this matter, we proceed to other matters, and if we don't, then we continue as such. So I would like to plead with you to say, let's deal with this first hurdle, and then the operational matters and technicalities will follow. We still have the SIU reports, we still have to deal with fruitless. So, but there's this matter that should not lose our sight, Chair. I'm appealing. There's the proposal before you now to say you had sent us back. We're coming now to say give us until end of January after festive season. We'll then be able to give you the full detailed information as to where we stand in relation to the court issues.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I'm covered because my understanding was that they have indicated in their presentation that they are a new board. But now, after the meeting the committee last week, they've started to do something like having a committee, technical committee. So they also wanted extension, time. They have time frame, or they will have done what they are supposed to do, because they will meet and have a solution on the issues, on the matter that we are in. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm supporting what Honorable Hadebe has said. He covered me.
How about another bite?
No, yes, unless the CEO will give us compelling reason why we should grant them the extension, because that did not come from the two presentations, we can allow that, because our decision ought to be informed, must be justifiable, rational, and reasonable. So we, on those bases, we can allow the Chief Executive Officer to empower the committee to take rational and informed decision. Thank you.
That's precisely why you see you've answered yourself. Because I thought, let's hear them out. Let's hear them out. Because CEO, as has been said by the chair, they are on the daily. So, and they are taking decisions. And I think it's important for us to get a clarity. Are they on the same page as the board and the executives? Because I'm still going to, from my side, come back to some of the issues that have been raised, which do not sit well with me from where I'm looking at the matters. So the request for an extension is somewhat in a vacuum. So let's hear what CEO has to say, and then we will engage on it. So CEO, but please confine yourselves to the issues of this. As you've heard, members, the technical and operational other stuff, we can come back to those. Right now, the issue is around the litigation matters. CEO?
Thank you very much, Chair. Mine is to elucidate further on the work that needs to be done. Chair, the dispute that we have with the AG is of a technical nature and also legal nature. The amount of paper that is there is more than 4,000 pages. There are things that must be processed through the legal committee, which are legal matters. There are matters that are accounting in nature that needs to be processed through the audit committee. The audit committee chair is quite new, and her team, the majority of them are new. And therefore they have asked that we brief them on various matters. Even day before, yesterday we were briefing them on the decisions that are taken. So there is quite a lot of work that they must go through in application of mine, and I think it's fair that they be given the opportunity to apply their minds to this voluminous work that we have done. There is backgrounds, there are letters, there are a lot of other things that they must go through. So for that reason, they thought that by the end of January they would have done that work. So the work has already started. There is a technical committee that would include the AGSA, the Office of the Accountant General, and of course the Accounting Standard Board. And those people must be available as well to the audit committee and the board to be able to be engaged with, so that as they arrive at their decision, it's something that they have looked at. On the issues of the heads of argument, Chair, we are given a timetable by the DJP in what is called judicial, case management processes. So we were expected that by the 30th of October we must file our papers, which is the heads of arguments. These head of arguments, Chair, the truth is that they never even come to us. My understanding is that it's a summary of the case plus other things that they do, and case law that is dealt with by the legal teams when they agree with the DG. And I think there's something that they need to submit somewhere in December as well. The AG was supposed to file theirs on the 30th of November. We hear now they are filing on the 30th of December. And I think this is the process. And as the chair said, the matters go to the legal committee where we present all litigation matters pertaining to the road accident fund, how far we are, what are the steps. And as the chair said, before the 29th, there was a legal committee that looked at the matter. And of course, on the 1st of December, these matters were brought in front of the board. So the board would not have known about the progress on those matters, all of them being put there as it were. So I think, Chair, that's as far as I can go without going into the deeper issues. As it is, the board is working very hard to get more information from us, and of course there are certain things that they required that the previous board did not require that may need us. For instance, they want the legal team to write a certain legal opinion for them on different legal aspects, which also might take time. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. There you go. All right. All right, colleagues. I want to. Minister, it's perfectly understandable that you were in cabinet last week. That was advanced to us, but thanks for the reiterating the apology once more this morning. So we were briefed on that, and the absence of the DM was explained to us. At the end of the meeting, I'll come back to this issue of proximity because it's got a context, and I think you may not have, either I may have failed to explain it, or it may not have been heard in terms of how I'd explained it, but it's got a particular context arising out of the oversight visit that we had to the Parktown offices. So you can rest assured that it was never an indictment on yourself, but I will explain it at the end because I don't think it's material to the conversation as we're having it now. And I raised it at Parktown, and I raised it last week because it's got serious interpretations if you look at the work going on. So I will take you into our confidence in terms of where we come from on that one. Right, I'm gonna wait there because colleagues, over to you. Somya? Okay, we'll go in that. Right, let's just get the chairperson of the portfolio committee to settle down. Welcome, Chair. No problem. We've had the minister has made comments and a statement. The minister has made an input. The chairperson of the board has made an input, and the CEO of the REF has made an input. So that's where we are. We are now starting off, so we are just in time for the members' session. Babusomi, over to you. You will structure your questioning as you deem fit.
Thanks, Chair. Morning to the Minister, the chairperson of the board, and the executive, the SIU, the Office of the Auditor General, colleagues, and the officials who are providing support to us. I think, Chair, in the first instance, to dispense with the what started with the minister and the chair of the board on their indulgence in as far as the issues between the AG and RAF, probably based on what progress is there currently. If we could plead with them to, in terms of placing on record the inclusion of a detailed some kind of a report which is going to be submitted in the next few days, which is can be even few days because we're getting on the closure, probably by the end of the day today, which relate to what has been said on that matter. You see, and our view on that expression would that we allow them, as they plead for some form of an extension with regard to that progress so far, so that by the end of January we'll be able to get the feedback from the board on the matters which we have been raising in as far as that matter is concerned, so that we somewhat dispense with that kind of a matter, because principally for us if the standing of the audit is impacted by such, and in the same vein, the executive authority, based on the annual general meeting which they have organized and approved the annual report so far, and I take it that they have tabled the current annual report to Parliament. The only thing which I would request from the Minister, probably if you have a date of when was that tabled, following the annual general meeting of the board, and the strength would then assist us in terms of agreeing into holding the matter up until that time. If I could get that kind of a response as a first matter which I would want to determine from my side. I would have the follow-up question, which is welcome to go to the Minister after I get that response.
I won't come in the question session just to manage time, so as soon as the question is concluded, feel free to respond and delegate as you deem fit.
Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with. Yes.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. The annual general meeting of Road Accident Fund was on the 1st of December, Chair, if I'm not mistaken. And then immediately after that, after signing off, that is the 2022-2023 annual report and financial statement, because that was signed off by the Auditor General together with the board. It was therefore tabled before us, and we then convened an AGM, which is a governance issue. We signed off resolutions, and then of course we tabled the report on the 3rd of December. Of November, I'm sorry, yes, on the 3rd of November. So indeed it was tabled. That is the 2022-2023 financial year report and financial statement. Thank you.
It's the strength there. Thank you very much, Minister, which then confirms the fact that the current annual report, together with the current audit findings, have been somewhat gone through the mill in as far as even going to the portfolio committee when they were dealing with the PRRR process, and the contentious matters are dealt with in that instance. So the strength of agreeing to the postponement is driven by that kind of an issue. I'm saying so, Chair, because if the AG has raised the similar matters last year and raises the same matters this year in the same strength, those matters ought to follow with ease the same process. There is in terms of precedence, there is nothing that holds on in between that kind of a situation. So there's no need for hanging matters, even on the 2021-2022 annual report, because the ensuing year, which is the current audited financial situation, has followed somewhat. So that there is absolutely no standing matter in as far as such is concerned. So the matter is only technical. You see, there's no other matter which ought to somewhat follow. So they should hold on the annual report in terms of tabling. So all other things become academic. So the time I want to propose that must be granted for the ministry, the board, and the executive to deal with those kinds of matters going going forward. The strength of such, Chair, begins to create a standing away from the current matters in terms of pursuing the finalization of these areas. I hope I'm heard appropriately around such a proposition. And I'm saying, one, if the board and the executive authority, in terms of what has been outlined in as far as the postponement of the matter is concerned, should come to us in writing not later than the end of the day today, because they have somewhat indicated those matters. Two, that we grant them what they are asking for, so that the report should come back in full on the matters that have been dealt with, which are of a technical nature. Three, that since there's been an annual general meeting on the current audited financials and the annual report tabled to Parliament, as the Minister has confirmed on the 3rd of November, I'm getting into a mistake here, Minister. The 3rd of November, it then says to us, all what is left is so technical, and there is a precedence laid already, which might as well nullify the actual problems which exist on the previous audit, which is 2021-22 financials, because they have signed off the 2022-23 audit with the same matters which have been raised in the previous audit. So whatever we're indulging on is academic and therefore technical, and the pursuance of such
would come to us on the 29th of November and then say that they are learning for the first time in the meeting we were having on the 29th that heads of arguments had been filed on a key critical matter of an audit outcome, which has been the mainstay of parliamentary interaction with the Road Accident Fund. There is no excuse around it. In fact, it's not acceptable. It baffles the mind, because you see, CEO, I note that you say that these things are not even necessarily coming to you. But in the meeting, it was put categorically to us that it was you who signed off on those heads of argument going to court. Right? So that's where we are. So and respectfully, Minister, to the chair of the board, she was part of the previous board, right? And one of the critical issues that was raised at that meeting was the issue of continuity for the purposes of ensuring that there was no lacuna in the decision-making process. So the question then becomes, to what extent is this elongated period of consultations going to be? Because now there's a pretense that this is wholly a new matter. That's not acceptable. That is fundamentally what is at the heart of this, because we're going around in circles. We have met with the ASB, we met with the Office of the Accountant General, we've met with the Auditor General themselves, and we have done an analysis, and I'm beginning to sound like a broken record to say ultimately the conclusion that has been reached and the determinations that have been made, even confirmed last week by National Treasury, was that the use of IPSAS 42 is not correct. So now you want an extension to January 2024 to deal with technical aspects, and that the ASB and the OAG must make a determination. They've already made determinations. Why must we go back to square one? So what I'm really raising, Minister, in the whole context of everything else, is that there's no urgency at REF on these matters. And colleagues, in saying that let's allow for the extension, well, obviously that would be fair and rational, but it has to have the caveat that this is not a new matter before REF. I mean, I'm interested to know that what REF and AG have signed off on, have they signed off on the basis of IPSAS 42? What is being signed off on now? Because that would certainly have a fundamental impact on the outlook of the process as to why are we in court if you're continuing to sign off on IPSAS 42. I mean, I'm just trying to understand what new matter is being discussed. The board, Minister, I'm going back to the first point and you can then respond to the issues that have been raised, is that for us, it certainly raises not just an eyebrow, but our ire if we sit here and the biggest issue confronting RAF insofar as its compliance matters are concerned, including but not limited to ministerial directives, which the board, we are advised, was actually briefed about at an induction. And then processes continue because the heads of arguments that are being filed, as far as I understand it, and unless I'm wrong, which I doubt I am, but I'm subject to correction, is that if you're going to be meeting with the AG, the basis of your meeting is what you are arguing in court. So how does the board proceed with meetings to the AG, yet the legal processes are continuing? What we are drawing your attention to, Minister, is that you cannot have a situation whereby the accounting authority is not in the loop on the biggest legal matter confronting REF because it has got a material impact on the financial status of the institution. And then the board, Minister, was the chairperson says, I'm hearing about those heads of for the first time here in November. But the audit outcome issue is the biggest issue, unless it's not. Klampi Ref is saying something else. But to be in court with the AG, for me, that's no light matter. And so in board meeting or no board meeting, I would have imagined that before you proceed with the next step of the court process, you take the board along. Unless the intention was that that shouldn't be the case. That's the issue. So we can go to January 2024, go to March 2024, and lo and behold, the elections come and none of us are back here. But what I can assure you of in the legacy report, I'm not leaving this one out. So whether we are there or not there, because finally, Minister, at this point, the fundamental challenge we have as you grapple with legal issues yourself, which I think you are quite correct to pursue so that you take correct decisions anchored in law. You know, because you are also setting precedents, yes, so there's no problem with the consultations. But we've also have a dilemma. This sets into motion a very dangerous, slippery slope of a precedence of negotiated audit outcomes. We can't have that. And when the statutory bodies place it on the table that IPSAS 42 is not correct, and I'm being mild here, shouldn't we not explore our options as Parliament of joining this court process as an amicus? So what I'm drawing attention to is that this could snowball into a very difficult legal process for the purposes of oversight and accountability. It's worrying. So please understand us from that objective point of view, that this has got a material impact. So for REF to determine its own standard, and then when they are told that it's not right, but doesn't can, I don't think that's correct. That is the issue. Where does it place oversight? Where does it place the integrity of the value chain or the ecosystem of oversight? Because the AG is in a difficult position. The ASB appeared before us, Minister. I think you were present before Nama changes Maning, you were still DM, right? The Accountant General, and last week we had the National Treasury in the meeting saying the same thing. So we can have the linguistic gymnastics play out, but the logical conclusion that has been reached is that this standard, and that is why the directive was pulled out of court. Now, the longer it goes, as far as I see it, Parliament may have no other option other than to join this process from a perspective of asserting process. So in as much as we can say we don't want wrangling, I think that's where we're headed. Something's got to give, and I think Rev really needs to take a moment and reflect, why is it only them who are right and everybody else is wrong? When the standard setter says, why? You deal with the claims liabilities at the stroke of a signature, sanitize the books. Because that's what this amounts to. Change the standard and it sorts your books out. I don't Minister Maizusuk source, and maybe that may be apt in the transport portfolio. So I just thought I should draw your attention so that you could understand where we were coming from, because it may be seen like it's a personal matter. No, it's not. It's a matter of process. We have engaged all these bodies in the presence of REF. I'll hand over to you, ma'am, if there's any, and then we'll come to Honorable Bucas.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. We indeed have also attended the meetings that you referred to last year, and we went back, we reported to then Minister, and decisions got taken. I just want to say, Chairperson, that we do take this matter seriously. When we convene AGMs, the Auditor General, her office attends. We raised this matter even at the AGM this year on the 1st of November. I think it was the 1st of November. And also urged the board to please and try and find an amicable solution on the matter. Chairperson, we believe that there is a technical matter in this regard that might require the 3 offices, or the 4 for that matter, to look into and probably advise us. The court matter is another matter, but of course, the very issue of the standard, as you have raised it, Chairperson, it might be the wrong one, but which one is the right one? That's a matter that probably we do need, from a technical point of view, to be guided upon. And that is why, after the AGM chair, which was on the 1st, I met with the chairperson of the board. Because we had raised the matter at the AGM, the chairperson came to meet the shareholder, and she actually said, I intend meeting the AGM on this matter. I already have an appointment. We discussed the matter. And we proposed that to the chair, that please, if as much as it is possible, try constitute a technical team that will just look at this matter and therefore later tell us as to whether any standard is the right standard for an entity such as Road Accident Fund. Whether we agree that it is an insurance and therefore it should be audited as an insurance, or social benefit scheme entity, whether it should be audited like that. So that is the matter that we're requesting the technical team to look into and come and advise us. And I even advise that when we do that, probably we allow a situation where technical people look at the matter. Because once you have a solution to that, then of course, and Chairperson, the Road Accident Fund will come to us to say the implications are 1, 2, 3, 4. We listen to that, but of course, like I'm saying, we think that if we find a technical solution to this matter, it might help. And that is why our strong view is that, and as I agree with you, Chairperson, is that that technical team must know that they don't have time, that they've got to meet as frequently as possible and come to an agreement so that they can advise to say, under the circumstances, this is what can actually be done for an entity such as Road Accident Fund in South Africa or elsewhere in the world. That is what, Chairperson, we're looking at. On the issue of the 2021-2022, Chairperson, as I've indicated, as a matter of fact, part of that financial year I was not even at the Department of Transport. I was at DPSA. And that is why, for me, it is important to know exactly as to what role do I play as I convene an AGM today that is dealing with matters that happened in the past. Do I sit in that AGM as the current minister, or do I seek anything to say at the time I was at DPSA? Can I therefore account for that? Or I was deputy minister anyway, and therefore not the shareholder. What do I do? And that is just the legal aspect that I think I require in guidance. As quickly as I get that guidance, if say somebody was to say, no, the dates will be today anyway as the minister, even if they are for the past years, and you'll therefore sign off as the minister today, I can call the AGM tomorrow and waive the 10 days notice, which we have to give when we call AGM. Then we get the AGM, we sign off the report, we table it in Parliament. So for me, those are the issues, because you worry when you do something that has no precedence, that I sign off, next thing somebody says, but you're not even there. How did it happen that it's you? You're a deputy minister, you need a proxy from the shareholder who's the minister, but there's no proxy. What was there? So that is just one other technicality that I require an advice on. It was the same thing, Chair, with SAMSA, for instance. We kept on saying, even now we kept on saying we need an advice, because the AGM at SAMSA didn't happen last time. But of course, as quickly as we have the financial report and the statement finalized, we'll then have to convene an AGM and sign off everything. But do I go back to next year, or I just sign off for now? So you've got these things that need to be ironed out, that you will remain on the legal side of things, and you're not called upon later to say, but you lied, you were not the minister at the time. That is that. So it's not just only for Road Accident Fund, the legal opinion that we're seeking, but it's for other entities. PRASA, for instance, there was no AGM last year for PRASA. What do I do this year? As soon as the financial statement has actually been concluded, I can therefore convene an AGM as quickly as possible, because that has now been finalized between the oath. But there is an outstanding one. What do I do with regards to that? Do I sign off that one, or what do I do? Because we've got to, I can't table, as a matter of fact, the report in Parliament without the shareholder signing off the report, and therefore agreeing with the Auditor General, with the Accounting Authority, and then of course I sign off the shareholder and I submit to Parliament as minister on something that I agree upon. So that is just the legal opinion that we're seeking on how do we go about on this matter. So it's not just for one entity, but also, of course, road accident is part of those. And we're trying to speed up the process. I just wanted to say that, Chairperson, and then I'll be covered as quickly as I have that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. CEO.
Chair, I don't want to belabor the point. I want to put matters for the record. I don't know who would have said I signed the heads of arguments. I have been dealing with a lot of matters legally. Heads of arguments are never signed by any litigant. They are matters that are dealt with at the level of the legal representatives. So it's something they deal with in court. They might give us a copy, but I actually don't sign any of those, and I did not sign the one submitted on the 30th of October. I just wanted to put that for the record. Thanks.
That's fine. I can pull up the transcript of that, but those who are there, if they deem it necessary to clarify that now, I suggest they do, because it was said in the meeting. But if I have to pull out the transcript, then I'll do so that it can be clarified, because what Usio was saying is clarifying me and responding to what I'm saying. But that record still remains, because the matter was extensively probed in the meeting, and those who are there can attest. So I suggest that it's clarified.
Yes, Chair, may I clarify? Because I mentioned it. It's my mistake. Heads of arguments are submitted by our attorneys on record. The CEO signs just affidavits. So I'd like you to put it on record.
So it's us. Honorable Bukes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, thank you, Minister and Chair, CEO, for your inputs or your presentations. But I think you know, and everyone know, that as SCOPA, we are protecting the public purse. We are following money. We want to see healthy accounting principles, and if it means we must have weekly meetings, we will do it. I just want to say that first. Then, Chair, I'm sitting with a problem. You know, like now, exactly what happened now. The honesty and it's just that there's something in RAF. Last week, I want to say that, body language and attitude can speak volumes. But at least today, I see that you are relaxed, all of you. So I think all of us want a solution. And in agreeing with my colleagues that we will not do justice to engage on this specific issue, my only challenge or concern is that Honorable Somio and Honorable Kadebe was asking for
Don't mind hard.
Yeah, please, Chair.
Yeah, talk to me.
Was speaking about a report that must be submitted today. That report, Chair, must include the process that they want to follow. It must also include the progress till now, because this issue is on the table for more than 2 years. And there must be a driver, a specific person who's communicating with the chairperson of the board and the minister, if so, to give them progress, so that when we are here, there's no name dropping or this one tells that and that one tells that. So please appoint a driver of this specific issue, so that we can put it to rest. Honorable Chair, I think we put effort in it, and it's draining. We put effort in it, we put money in it, we put our emotions in it, because all of us as government, we want to see that this thing, we must close it. And it's not good for us. Every day when we meet with RAF, then it's like headlines. We did not raise something. I was saying, Honorable Chair of the Board, that we can have open lines. If you think that you can't come here and put things on the record, communicate with the chairperson to say, we're not ready yet, but this is the process, we are busy with this. And I don't think he will just say that now we must do it, we must do it. So that's my first one, Chair. Then the second one, the one of the technical team. Did you already appoint the team? And what is the status on the work that the technical team are doing? That's my first one. Then also, CEO. Oh, no, but I don't want to drag this issue of honesty or what, but when we visit the RAF there, and some of the officials there were so scared, they don't want to talk to us. And I think I want to put it here, CEO, that please, it must not be because of the treatment. Like things are saying on the record, and now when someone is here, of all of you are here, suddenly subtract that issues. It's not good. I was so glad when I look at the survey, because in most of the issues that you addressed in the survey was the issues that we raised there. And I hope that there is also a driver for that survey. So I agree, Chair, that it will be of no, it will not help us to engage on this. Let's give them time. I understand, but there must be urgency, Minister. The urgency, the will, I can't say the political will, but the will must be there from their side. Because you can't do that, but please see that it is happening. And really, Minister, they must appoint a person to drive this process. Thank you, Chair.
That's fine. Quick responses and then we'll proceed. And we'll might have to come back.
Maybe just a short one.
Okay.
Just a short one. I want to maybe ask the chair of the board is new, but maybe the CEO, what is your suggestion? How can we, please advise us as SCOPA, are we dealing wrongly with this issue? Or how can we deal with this? Please.
Right, I think that one they must take to the technical committee. Belongs there. The pertinent issue is whether the technical committee has been constituted, has the 22-23 sign-off on the basis of IPSAS 42. And thirdly, Minister, you see, if what you have said in the response you just gave now, when you say what is the right one, if that had been the attitude from the word go, we wouldn't be here. Because the issue is, once it's signed off on, it's signed off. AG says that the reporting is not within the framework, standardized framework, right? Now answer the question, Uti, which is which? And don't insist with what you are being told is wrong, is right. Because you are stuck to the past, whereas you want to go to the future. I'm not sure you're making sense. So if what the minister has said now, for me, it clarifies the whole thing. It's to say, Vele, what you did then was wrong, but find the right one. With the correct guidance, if you've got issue, to say, what you've been using all along doesn't work for us. Help us find the one that works. Then it resolves the problem. For me, it resolves, because then you will be given what is right and you will be audited on the basis of what is right. But when they've said Leah is wrong, I'm not sure why must we convince them that it's right. Find the one that works. So, Minanje, you've answered me in large part, Minister, if that's the attitude that you are adopting, because it's solution-oriented to ensure that we come out of this. Because otherwise you're living in court in perpetuity. And that's the issue. Can we get quick responses, and then the chair of the portfolio committee, and then I'm advised I have to come back to that matter now of the signing, because it got implications on powers, privileges and immunities and the misleading of parliaments. We just need to resolve it, and that other yada yada. Minister, over to you. We'll come to you, Chair. You just stand by.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you once more for affording me this opportunity. Chair, the question you're asking me is on the technical committee. I must mention that this committee is not new. It existed from the time the RAF started reviewing its accounting policy, because the organization needed to engage with the standard setter in this country, which is the ASB, as well as the Accountant General. So those engagement and that committee existed at the time to deal with the direction that would be appropriate for the RAF in that regard. And I think I was trying to avoid getting into the detail of the matter, because the matter is in court regarding the technical issue. But I think what the Minister is saying is very important, that the current standard, which is IFRS 4, and it has been replaced, Chairperson, by IFRS 17, covers the accounting treatment for insurers. It is in line with Insurance Act. And the RAF is a social benefit fund that is instituted in terms of the RAF Act. And so currently, those two standards actually, they don't result in a fair presentation of the state of affairs of this social benefit fund. That has been an issue since time immemorial. That's why, I'm getting to the point, Chair, if you allow me. That's why this matter is technical and critical, and that's why we need a solution that will deal with this matter. And that's why the Auditor General agreed that let's come together, because we know that we need an appropriate standard that will help this entity, Chairperson. That's why we need to engage further to find an appropriate solution to this matter, because we're looking for a long-term solution. We can just say, let's go back, but that won't fairly present the financial affairs of this organization. So that's why we have this technique. We are resuscitating it, Chairperson. As I said, the first meeting with the new audit committee took place on Monday with the Auditor General. And I'm happy that we agreed in principle that we need a long-term solution to this technical problem. And we've also agreed on the agency, given the fact that we don't want to go back to the audit process that is coming with the same, baggage and end up, because then the position of the Auditor General won't change. So that's why we are fast-tracking this process to meet with the ASB again and the Office of the Accountant General in terms of this technical team. Chairperson, the reason why we said we try and conclude the technical matters before the end of the financial year, so before the start of the audit, is because, and also I think it's very important to state that giving a project plan implies that this is an internal process. So this process entails and includes external stakeholders. I mean, the AOG, the AXA, as well as the Accountant General, they are outside the RAF. So we can't come with a project plan and put timelines for them without engaging with them. So we are already starting to ask for meetings for them. That's why we're saying before the end of financial year. But the board will come back regarding its own matter end of January. Chairperson. Thank you.
Two-pronged approach. There's internal matters and there's the collaborative matters towards the accounting standards. You will determine there. The minister has concluded this thing. Find the one that works. Find the one that is approved. Find the one that's correct. Because IPSAS 42 is not the one. Right? It's done. So
Chairman, just an intervention. My problem is that we have made a proposal to say this matter should be somewhat staged up until January. Now you are delving into the details in a way. I'm somewhat tempted to deal with these other matters.
it does not into
that's not my
temptation,
intention.
but deliver us from evil.
So I want to plead with the question stands: do you have a technical committee? Yes or no? How is it constituted? Constituted 1, 2, 3. Is there a leader of that technical process? Yes or no? The leader is so and so. The terms of reporting. This is what's going. So that when you are making that kind of correspondence, you would have all those issues listed there. I think Honorable Lucas has made it easier to say when you respond, please carry for us these following things you see out there. Now, once you delve with these matters, we don't want a record there which is one-sided record. Because already we have made a proposal, that proposal is agreed upon, and if it's agreed upon, it's only how is this process going to unfold in as far as agreed upon, you see, a process outline.
Honourable Minister?
Sorry, Chair. And I think I wanted to add the issue of a project plan. It's because you have given us a date which is end of January. I'm a project manager by profession. You cannot manage that which you cannot measure. You must indicate to us when are you intending to deal with these outside stakeholders so that we have an idea. We don't want a situation where you come back after end of January and say we could not meet with so and so. Indicate that this was your intention and make it practically possible to get them so that they understand the agency of you finalizing this matter. So now, it's going to be an open-ended process if you are not giving us milestone projections. We can't allow that. We fully aware and we appreciate that we are not only dealing with internal matters, there are external role players. How did you arrive at the date of the 31st if you are still not sure whether you're going to achieve any tangible outcome on this matter? Thank you, Chair.
Let me try and rescue the Chair. 30 January is on the court matter for the board to make a determination as to whether they remain or not in court. The end of financial year matter is the technical aspects moving forward with the other stakeholders. So it's a two-tier process. Did I capture you well, Chairperson? So those are the deadlines. By end of Jan, they are coming to report back on the issue of court. And luckily, we end of financial year sobesakon, sobesala. So they will come back for that. So I think they are now to work out the necessary nuanced detail of what you are saying, the milestone projections towards the end of financial year. But end of January, it doesn't need a project timeline, it needs a decision. So I think, am I hearing you? All right, Minister. And then we come to the Chairperson. Minister, would you respond to a question?
No, definitely I will respond with, I will respond.
Okay. Minister, all right, Minister, over to you.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. Can I also request that we be allowed to respond on the specific questions as asked by the Honourable Member in our written response, so that we don't thumbs up and commit other entities on something and give names when we've not been provided with such. Can we just request that we do exactly that, and in the letter we then provide names and the leader and so on? Thank you.
All right, colleagues, the parliamentary framework for 2024 opens for parliamentary meetings to begin on the 30th of January. So we will make a determination, and as I've indicated, in compelling circumstances, we will be able to meet before then, if the need so arises. So the matter, but again, yeah. So Chairperson.
No, Slalo asizibongela ithuba esiphiwa lona. Let me, through your good self, Chair, greet yourself and honourable members, the Minister, and the board, and all the delegation. That's one, Chair. Two, Chair, there are a few points that I want to raise, but I would also appreciate that we have agreed to have joint meetings, because it does assist so that you know what is being said on which forum, and also not to have a perception that is not evidence-based. At least now we are enjoying the show and tell. I was here last week, Honourable Minister, and I'm here regardless of the time that I joined the meeting today, even last week. But I must say, Honourable Minister, because we are the one who directly report and account to Parliament, that there is nothing exciting to take home. There's lesser, let me say that, but there is improvement today. Chair, there are various structures and various actors within those structures, and they've got legal responsibilities that nobody can change them because are in law. South Africa has got laws, and I'm repeating what I said last week for the benefit of the Minister, that there are departments and institutions which are SOEs and entities that need to comply with South African laws. That one, I think all of us were at peace, unless there's international treaties and agreements that, but also we need to ratify them and adapt to them for South Africa and be in line in terms of processing those ones. Two, Chair, why I raise my hand importantly is the issue when I guess it's the company secretary, ratifying the signing of the heads of argument. The CEO signed or didn't sign, or all those things.
Just 1 second. It's not the company secretary, is that gentleman there.
Oh, the one who's quiet.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not
okay. Yeah, no, it's fine, but I'm still going back to him. There is a role, Chair, why I'm raising the company secretary in particular, that individually plays in a board structure, which is very important. And that person, one of the things and the prerequisite that person must have is the legal background, formal one, not the one that the side some of us we want to pose as if we're legal fundis on those ones, so that it ensures that the board does comply with the legal prescripts at all given time. But also if that company secretary is not a new one as the board as it were, then fast track the board in terms of understanding and comprehending and prioritizing important things that must come first than the first ones. I think, Honourable Minister, you need to assist in that space. Secondly, sub of that is the one of the signing of the heads of arguments and all that, and also now retracting. Unfortunate part, Chair, I must say that this is Parliament. What you said, it's formal, but also if then there is a mistake, because we don't say it is a mistake, Tina, we say you have misled us, unfortunately. I think you are correctly saying that one needs to be addressed. What does that mean? Where does it take us? But also the second one is the SIU issue, which you are going to deal with it. I had it. It's just that I have to excuse myself. That it's more or less the same, but also they will. I think SIU will sponsor that one. to say which is which because all the actors are here. The minister is here, the CEO is here now. Because I want to say that, Chair, probably there was just a misunderstanding when we were told on that day, but it was said formally, and nobody corrected that. I'm not too sure, but I'm giving the response that I'm still, because I like the posture that the minister is taking, that I would like to be given a chance on issues that we have raised, haven't responded and not responded, but also submit in writing, because there should be that cross-reference in terms of evidence, although there's hindsight in Parliament. I think that one should be addressed, Chair, so that we are at peace that what was said last week, it's what it is, formally in writing and everything. The last one, Chair, my appeal, having had that there should be a project plan with timelines, which is correct, and I agree with that, because we can't oversight on something that you don't know when it's going to be delivered by who. Is that the matters that is the year that was, we shouldn't at any given time refer them to the 7th Parliament. They must be finalized and be closed. Not to say in the legacy report, then we'll hand over to, because there's no good reason to do that. And that will be my appeal, both at a SCOPA level and at a PC transport as well. That will be my take, Chair, and an appeal from your good self. Thank you very much. May I be excused? I have to preside now.
Okay, sure, no, that's fine. You. Good luck, have fun. I would hate to preside the House, particularly after last night. I got jacked out. Thank you very much. Right, what we're going to do, Minister, Chairperson, can we get your response on the issue of court by the 31st of January 2024? And if there is a need, we will tentatively pen in Wednesday, the 7th of February as a meeting if that response requires engagement. So the meeting is tentatively the 7th of Feb, Wednesday, 7th Feb, if we need to take that forward. On that 31st, can we also get the timelines insofar as the end of March deadline that you have set on this matter as well, so that we can be able to track it and then we can share it with the portfolio committee as well. On the other outstanding matters that may require anything submission in writing, can we have that by Friday this week, because it's the short responses to any matter that you may deem needs clarification now. Why I say that is because we already have a draft report on REF following all the work that we have done. So it will be helpful for us to table this report, but I think the benefit of the information that has been cited will be helpful. So we've already done the draft of the report and the oversight visits. The final matter, our colleagues, I think let us engage on the rough matters in total, unless you want to go into the SIU matters. But I think we can leave REF here for today and come back to them when we have received this, because it will provide clarity. The SIU has got their timelines on the specific cases that they are dealing with. It's been staggered into 3-4 phases, if I'm not mistaken. That is a work in progress in that regard. Then there's now this matter, because you see the issue of the heads of argument is of a substantive nature to the work in which we are doing, because the issue is at the heart of the issue is REF and AG being at court. And when we left last week, we left under the informed position that this was a CEO-driven position. And the CEO has clarified his matter now that it's not his, and there's been a concession that there was a mistake. I'm advised that does not suffice in terms of the powers and privileges. I'm going to take the matter under advisement, and Minister and Chair, and so we will communicate in writing in terms of the action steps that need to be followed. because misleading Parliament is a problem. I'm not saying we are taking an action step, but I think it needs to be properly clarified. Because these things set precedents. Ngoba nje mina ngihamba nje last week ngithi CEO is steaming ahead without the board. That's what we as nabanye abazi. So I think even if we get a written submission clarifying that matter, that will suffice. So I think if you can do that for us, ma'am, that will be correct. Just written so that we don't go to there, but correct it in writing. So I'm told though that mistake doesn't suffice. Let's not debate in le. Honorable Hatte, Honorable Swami.
The Chair, I hear your point, and I accept your ruling and authority. But I want to plead with you at least. Sorry, ma'am, I forgot your name. Oh, Mtu Ngombulaz. At least Uma Khumalo, she owned up and acknowledged that she has made a mistake and apologized. I want us to take it in that spirit, but send a very strong message, because indeed in that meeting I even doubted that you are sick. When after that response, because it was me who asked the question, who signed? We were first told the standard practice. I said, don't tell me, don't generalize. The general norm is that it's a CEO. Don't generalize. Be specific. I'm talking about this particular heads of argument submitted on this date. Who signed? I was specific, and then after that, I even doubt that you are sick. Maybe there's a reason. So I'm saying that type of response made some of us to have certain impressions about everything, of which now it is clarified to say in future, if you are not sure of an answer, please don't fundraise answers and give us answer for the sake of answering. It creates an impression, and it might have led us astray. If we do not want to give you a benefit of the doubt, we would have lashed out on you and your conduct in relation to the board. So I'm appealing, Chair, that let's accept the apology, but we plead with colleagues, don't, if you are not sure, respond for the sake of responding, because these meetings get recorded and your response gives us a certain level of pursuing matters. And I would like, Chair, to plead with you. What gives me comfort is that you own up into your honest mistakes, and I want to take it as such. That's my plea, Chair. But and that can be expressed in writing. That will be my humble plea. Understanding that I'm just a whip, I'm not the Chair.
Mazumaluma Pepet, right? Honorable Somia. But
thank you very much, Chair. Okay, thank you very much, Chair. I think in the same spirit, that both the withdrawal and the statement occurred in a meeting of this nature. You were making a proposition that the actual refraining from such would have to be made in writing by the principal individual in terms of the statement made. I would want to get into what Honorable Hadebe is saying, that is a meeting, is a matter of principle. We accept the fact that she has made on the spot withdrawal and actual apology on the matter, and that does not necessarily take away the fact that such a matter must be somewhat expressed the way you were suggesting, but on record we stand to somewhat agree with yourself when it comes to that angle. And the Chair, if you would allow probably just to the Minister, just to acquire, you see whether she has some information for us on the finalization of the appointment of the board. As I was looking into the necessary steps of finalization of that important appointment, whether the board has been gazetted into the finality of the appointment, because we're engaging with the new board. It's a second meeting now. It might fly probably against us going forward. And if that gazette is present, probably we receive a reference to that kind of a gazette together with the actual call for such names for the appointment. That is the advert, the listing of individuals applied, the appointed members of the board flowing from that kind of a process, and the actual gazette in terms of the members appointed, which could be lastly, even if it's a statement of the Minister on the confirmation and appointment of the members of the board. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay,
just to be neat into this kind of situation.
The applicants were published and gazetted. I think what we have not received is the gazette, you write, or a confirmation of the board. So I think that's what we want. Now, on the issue of the, I hear the issue of tempering justice with mercy, but a written submission on that matter will suffice, and then we will take it from there. I think it's proper because it may have a material bearing on the conclusiveness of this matter at the end of it. So we can leave it at that she, by Friday, address the committee on that particular one. And we can narrate the reasons at a later stage for that. But yes, sure, temper justice with mercy, that's fine. Minister, on the gazette of the, and then maybe SIU, just stand by. You can maybe give us a high-level update if there is one on matters that may require our attention, because you're already here. So, Minister?
No, thank you very much, Chair. We short of one board member to constitute the full board of Road Accident Fund, and the CAB memo is before Cabinet, and that is what we're taking to Cabinet again. We could have appointed the member had it not been for the length of the items on the Cabinet agenda that actually made our items to be deferred to last week Wednesday, then again to this Friday. And it's one of the items. As quickly as that is done, then we'll be gazetting the whole board.
Grade 1.
Yes.
Where's the process now? What's the status of this board?
It's a legal board.
Okay.
All that it requires is just gazetting, Chair. That is the process that you do before appointing, but also after appointing your gazette. Otherwise, it is a legal body.
Baba Swami, are you fine?
At least for neatness, your confirmation of the board members as appointed is necessary. The actual completion of the board can happen next year or another day. The gazetting should happen at any stage. You see, fire advisors. You see, because it carries some kind of a anomaly. What I think probably could fly better is your statement, which seeks to confirm the appointment of the board even before the actual gazetting, the statement of the minister, which I've tried to Google. There's no statement, and you see, which might probably assist us around such for a neat process going forward. The requirement for us was just to seek that kind of a finality. At least your word, we see, might assist in terms of the statement.
Chairperson, the legislation says the minister shall make a member of the board appointed to be gazetted. So you appoint and gazette. That is what has happened. And we were without one specific expertise that we require, that we take into cabinet and then we gazette the whole board with all the expertise. But otherwise you appoint and gazette. So the board has actually been appointed. And then of course we will then be gazetting the board. But otherwise you appoint and gazette. That's what the legislation is saying. So the board is indeed appointed. It's not like you gazette, then appoint, you appoint and you gazette. So the board is appointed, then we gazetting it. Unfortunately, it's not like giving timelines, but I understand. But we thought that we require to fill the vacancy because it is at the beginning, and then we gazette the total board.
Okay. Honorable Hadeb, just stand by, see you.
No, Chair, I see is because some of us we are doing night school law, so we might be constrained in terms of understanding. But I believe certain parts, sections are there for particular reasons. I'm sure there's a reason why the board must be gazetted. But I'm saying for our purposes, Chair, we will get that clarity after so that we don't hold the meeting at ransom. Let's deal with SIU matters. But it is important to get an understanding. A layman like me, I had assumed that the effective date is after they've been gazetted. But I might be wrong, so let's not drag the meeting unnecessarily until we understand the nitty-gritties of the board, because it will also question the standing in the meeting at this current juncture as it relates to gazetting. But let's proceed, Chair. There are issues that I want to deal with.
Let's tie it up nicely. CEO had his hand up.
Yeah, Chair, I was just saying that I had Honorable Somio talking about just confirmation. I think the cabinet statement would help you resolve that, because it went to cabinet approved and announced on that.
Yeah, I slightly differ with confirmation. I think the operative word, Babsomyo, in your statement was for neatness, and I think it may have been euphemistic as well. I think there's a particular purpose for gazetting. For an example, the Minister of COGTA, as the custodian of the Disaster Management Act, will have regulations and they take effect when gazetted. There's a particular reason why gazetting is part of the value chain and the ecosystem of these things. And I think, Minister, we would implore on you to conclude the matter, because if this board has been in place from the 1st of October, and we are today on the 6th of December, and the process is still going, that's a problem. And I would request that you rather err on the side of caution and you get your legal team as a matter of priority to look at the locus standi of this board in the absence of this matter going the whole 9 yards. There's a point to gazetting. It's there for a reason. And so I think clarify it, appoint and gazette. It's a combo. The process is a combo. So I'm a runner believer, the point, just get your legal team, again, look at it, so that we don't come back here next year and then we are told what we were engaging with people whom, for neatness, as Obabu Somyo is saying.
Yes, Chair, I think let me just plead with this. Was this the rough, the actual contextual frame is currently running a trail of litigatory matters. It might fly on your decisions, which are very often essence of life of RAF. And if there's going to be one matter which is hanging, it might seek to nullify the entirety of the string of decisions which are somewhat there. So it is advisable that we complete the entire chain of its value to do so. We're sitting with a matter as advised, even ourselves as committee, which is a matter of litigation, which is coming our way, as I'm told, cited on a matter which involves RAF as a committee. So if it comes to us citing matters that relate to the board, and in terms of the frame of the appointment, there is absence of that public document, which is a confirmatory in its own instance, it might create some kind of a problem. So that's why I was thinking that my question was on the advisory way, not necessarily asking anything to catch the minister on, but advising that, please, if you haven't done so, do so as a matter of urgency. You see, the appointment of any individual, whether that two, that three, it must not wait for any other finalization. You appoint immediately, gazette, knowing very well that you're still going to indulge into another process. These things take time. You see, the printing of a gazette takes its own time. They're going to close within no time. So it might be necessary that those things are somewhat dealt with quite appropriately. I used in the past to appoint boards in my position in the past, and those matters would arise. So the caution is just at that point. Don't wait. Gazette point 1, Gazette point 2, Gazette.
All right. Point me.
I think that's what we must somewhat deal with. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, Basumi, you are right. As I'm saying, legally look at it, Minister, cover your bases. Because last week, for example, I was hounded by one legal firm. They are serving papers on us. Parliament will sign off upon their arrival on a rough matter. Put aside all the other correspondence day in and day out. So you do want to err on the side of caution, Minister. Because generally we have got a problem of vetting in the country as well, which we have been dealing with following the 2014 Cabinet decision for the vetting of executives and persons in financial management spaces and SCM and so on. So the question then that now follows and arises on that compliance matter, are the executives of REF vetted? As there are many of them. Last week there's a chief of that, a chief of this, a chief of that. Are the executives of REF vetted? If we can get a response to that, please. Are they vetted? So from CEO, CFO, and whichever other chief were settled with the CEO of ESCOM who left not vetted, CEO of Transnet, the CFO of Transnet, all left without being vetted. And this matter is as old as 2017 in this committee of the vetting of people. So are they vetted? The executives in Ekbono board may be recent, they knew. But at this point, what's the status of vetting of the executives?
Thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, the recruitment process of executives includes first of all, going through the vetting of their financial history, as well as dealing with the criminal aspects of the process. So before any executive is appointed, they do go through that process. So we check their financial records as well as their standing in terms of the criminal records. So that vetting is part of the recruitment process of the executives. It's also prescribed in their policy. So as a board, we informed that that process went through before we appointed. In fact, the previous board appointed the CEO. So we received those reports confirming that they went through that preliminary vetting. And all the executives also go through that preliminary vetting. Thank you, Chair.
This SSA vetting, that's the one we are referring to very specifically. And if that's the case, can we get that when it was done? Because one would have to sing the hallelujahs all the way to the good Lord, because it will be the first time that the SSA has, with such expediency, moved on the issue of vetting.
Chair, let me request us that we respond on that, because I know that there's always delays on the side of the SSA vetting, because the information goes to SSA and then we wait for the responses from them to come back and say this individual has been finalized. So can I just request that we respond in writing on the matter and saying which report has come back, which executive has come back, and which one is outstanding on the SSA part.
The executives are here about vetting the personal matter. Have you been vetted? It's a matter of your own personal compliance. We've put the same question to other CEOs and other executives. So we'll start with you, CEO, and go to CFO and others. Have you been vetted by SSA?
Chair, we have filled the forms like we ordinarily do, but nothing has come out of it so far. So far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't know about the other executives because I was the first one to be appointed. I suppose that most of them falls under the same issue as myself. So we do fill forms once appointed, and then we submit that to the SSA.
CFO?
Chair, I have not yet received a response either.
No response, Chair.
Yes, Chair. I'm redoing my forms. I was previously vetted and had a security clearance, but expired before I joined REF. So I'm restarting the process.
That's precisely why we were asking. We are settled with the matter with SSA and the presidency because there's a cabinet decision of 2014 on this matter, but seemingly SSA is not moving with the necessary speed, or not moving at all, actually. If Madam Chair, the report you say you will provide, if it can have the dates of when these processes were initiated and when the forms were submitted, that will be highly appreciated in the greater course of work we are doing on this matter. So you are settled with executives who are currently not vetted. All right. I think we are done on that. SIU, are there any matters you would like to raise with us? Ngoba namhlanje uMinister ukhona ngenhlanhla. Because of a busy schedule.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Honorable Member and Minister and the Chairperson of the Board, the CEO, and everybody present. Chair, last time when we appeared here after the meeting, we met with the Chairperson of the Board in order to deal with the issue of the invoice. Because by that time it appears that they did not receive the invoice according to REF. So we made a promise to the Chairperson that we will write a letter and attach all the invoice with the supporting evidence that the invoice was submitted to REF. And we are currently busy with that process. The letter supporting the attachment of the invoice was signed today, and I understand that it has already been submitted to the Chairperson and the CEO, just to confirm that all the invoices were submitted. But before the meeting, we agreed that we will take this matter forward, just to find out if all the invoices were received by REF. But as it is, there are some emails which were sent to REF, whereby there's a confirmation that some of these invoices went through. But we agreed that we'll take this process out of this meeting so that we can clearly confirm which one was received, which one was not received. Thank you.
Colleagues, right? Honorable Hadebe, saze Sasha Landlin.
Yeah, sesiyasha. So
Shuti isayini ukuthi ningazenzi izona ngoba kube kuyesesihogweni. The record's not working. It's really bad. We apologize about that. Honorable Hadebe.
no, I think based on what the SIU are saying, Chair, it is also safe to say let's allow the process to unfold, and then let's deal with the matter when we come back. So let's attach this matter on that deadline of the 31st of January next year. We perhaps the issues that were raised previously will then be elevated in that meeting, Chair, given the fact that majority of the cases are still ongoing. That will be my proposal, Chair. Sivale siyasha. Sisesihogweni.
When we're being 84 days, does gafik code. All right, Minister, I want to SIU, thank you. Minister, thank you very much for being here, and I hope that this matter will arrive at a logical conclusion. provide clarity and certainty so that REF can focus on its core mandate. REF is in the news for all the wrong reasons. It's causing public anxiety, rightly so. We are worried. You've got an adverse audit outcome currently. We are worried. We went to REF, Minister, because this is the first time we are engaging with you since then. And we left despondent at REF. Wherever we went, we left despondent, with a heightened sense of worry as to whether things could turn around in the climate which we interacted and engaged and experienced. It was our conclusions that things are bad at REF. From an observation point of view and from the interactions that we did, a climate of fear and toxicity for employees in particular. Put aside the very hostile reception that we received with the Deputy Minister, by the way. It was not just us who experienced that. That may be secondary. The issue is that we left worried about the state of affairs of RAF. And the audit outcomes confirm why we need to be worried. Assets are being attached. The sheriff, in my view, is a permanent feature of the daily lived reality of REF. So something's got to give. And that something REF will need a bailout in one way or the other. Somewhere along the way, more than just the levy will be required to sort things out at REF. It can't be that we are settled with public complaints and grievances on a daily basis. Over the weekend, I was even thinking we may even need to establish a committee hotline with REF just for us to transmit information that we are receiving so it receives your attention. And it arises out of public desperation. So that's something we also have to apply our minds to. Colleagues, if it's not me receiving something, it's one member receiving something, the staff is receiving something, phone calls, WhatsApp. People are worried. And I think, Minister, I want to ride on the concluding words of your opening statement where you were saying we must work for the people. I'm paraphrasing you. Ultimately, so that's what we want. We want a REF that is responsive, fit for purpose, and able to deliver on its mandate. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing personal about it. There's no ill will. It's just doing things according to the book. And hence then the issue around proximity. It was picked up when we were at REF. Which SCOPA can come here and do whatever it is. They can't touch us because we've got political proximity. I'm paraphrasing the engagement which took place unbeknown to those who were there. We were somewhat present in that conversation. So we are aware of that. At RAF, we are in irritation. We know that. It's not a healthy working engagement. Because none of us in this room can honestly say that we are happy about REF. And the interventions of appointing a new board, amongst others, are the efforts of the minister wanting to stabilize governance. It's the step in the right direction. So things are not okay. Ultimately, I think, as we wrap up this meeting, it's our observation, things are not okay. And that's an understatement, but for now it suffices so that it doesn't cast judgment. It's not right. So we are engaging in this process, Mr., to lend a hand to tighten the grip on oversight and accountability. I think if none of us are worried and we are comfortable with the status quo of REF, it would be the height of betrayal to our people. Nje. Everywhere we went, in all the oversights that we have done, it was just a very negative outlook. Bayasaba abantu ukusebenzela, bayasaba. I've said this before, ngikuphinda ngoba you are here. I've never experienced, I think the last time I experienced such fear was when we went to the compensation fund. It was not that bad. And our plea, Minister, is that yourselves, as the executive authority and the accounting authority, take the time to do a boots on the ground oversight of your own, interactive session on your own with the people who are working there. With a pinch of salt, as we would do as politicians when they're polling us for elections as well. They will say, Lona will get this. You take it with a pinch of salt. Talk to the people. It's my experience you will be empowered by those people to help you take the right decisions. We ask them, have you ever interacted with the board? It's not this board, so that there's says we don't know the board, we've never engaged with the board. Our plea is that as Pumenema boardroom, go to where things are happening. Interact with the clients. Babu Somyo spent about 30 minutes with another case there when we were in Parktown. Babu Somyo was at Parktown, yeah. And you just listened to the age analysis of this story and you realize this matter should have been concluded 100 years ago. But the things are just, all I'm saying is that, and we're not a union, so I'm not shop stewarding for anyone, Uti, now that we're not saying there's a labor crisis, but there is a need to respond to that. Because it may be a contributing factor as to some of the challenges you are experiencing. Minister, things are not right. That's our observation. And I hope that it can feed into the broader outlook that you have from the different vantage points of interaction that you have and information that serves before you from everyone else. There's also this perspective of us as outsiders who are worried. We are worried about REF. I dread the day any of us were to be involved in a car accident here, because we will experience, amongst others, this kind of dilemma. On the other hand, we must still make the public plea. People must not drink and drive. They must be responsible on the roads, as not to burden the RAF. That has to be the responsible outlook. But in the eventuality that it does, you've got people who are certainly not receiving the services that they're supposed to. You can't be an entity of the courts like this. Babu Somyo was right. You are living in a highly litigious society, and at the heart of that is REF. Day in and day out in one way or the other. So, Minister, we hope to hear from you as we have put out the timelines for the end of Jan and the documentation we require by Friday, if any written submission. Let me take this opportunity now to hand over to the Minister if there's any concluding remarks that she may have on her side, and thank you once again for being here.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you for the spirit with which we dealt with this meeting. And also agreeing to some of our requests and, of course, your proposals as well, in fact, your decisions as well. We appreciate that, Chair. The Road Accident Fund Act, Chair, is such that road must always be in court. It was drafted by lawyers, for lawyers. It takes Road Accident Fund to court. And that is why we do need to amend that legislation to the extent that Road Accident Fund is for claimants. and not for other people. And as it is right now, the Road Accident Fund, I will invite anyone to read it and see that it actually takes Road Accident Fund to court every time, by lawyers then by the claimants. We're very happy when Road Accident Fund said this year is dedicated to claimants, and went ahead to appoint, in fact, to establish a call center that enabled the claimants to phone direct and find out about their claims. As things stand, Chairperson, definitely you will be receiving complaints from claimants continuously. I have with me here, not just one case. RAF paid a claimant through the lawyer 5.6 million rand. The lawyers, a white company, lawyers with a name, paid the claimant 57,000 rand. They didn't pay the claimant at least the 600,000 so that they remain with the 5 million rand. They paid the claimant 57,000 rand. This, Chair, is what is happening at RAF and what Road Accident Fund is trying to correct and to deal with. When that happens, the 5.6 million rand lawyers will definitely go to court, because they are happy to get 100 million rand per month from RAF and therefore become the extension of RAF. If you stop that, they take you to court. So I just want to mention the fact that you do have these issues that are very true and real. And when that happens, it is Road Accident Fund that has actually dealt with the double dipping by lawyers that claim and go to sheriff, and tell sheriff go to RAF and attach, and when that happens then they are paid, but also they are paid. So it's double dipping. And it is the Road Accident Fund that has said we want that money back. And when they said we want that money back, and some of the law firms said we're not going to pay you back, Road Accident Fund said it's fine, we're not going to deal with your claims. And it forced them to pay back that money. So they've paid some money to Road Accident Fund. But they do that screaming and kicking, and because it's educated people, it's law firms, it's hospitals, it's doctors. Their voices are heard much louder. If you check as to who is making the noise, it will not be the claimants. I just want to make that point. It will be these other bodies. So I'm saying when this happens, when the 5.6 million rand is taken by a white law firm, they then phoned Road Accident Fund. Road Accident Fund said, but that was the agreement between you and the law firm. The only thing that we can help you to do maybe is to report the law firm to the Law Society so that they come in. The Law Society itself, it works its own way and according to its own standards. I just want to say, I fully agree, Chair, that there are reasons for us to be concerned, but there is a lot of positive things that are coming up out of Road Accident Fund. It might be a matter of time that they've saved. I'm not saying 100 million rand as just a rough figure. I'm saying what Road Accident Fund has actually been paying to some law firms. And then those law firms, they decide, if you stop that from happening, definitely going to have noise. And they will going to target people and so on and so forth. So yes, indeed, I agree there are issues, Chair, to be concerned about. The very fact that over the past, 5 or 3 years, the levy of RAF has not been increased. And that levy is not calculated on the basis of the number of accidents. It's just a random levy that gets decided upon. Whether it is able to meet the needs of Road Accident Fund, that's another matter. So I'm definitely not trying to argue for Road Accident Fund. I can't do that. However, there is some positive things that are happening at Road Accident Fund. They actually employed how many in that? 300. They're already there. They're manning the call center to receive messages. They're able to phone back. If you phone the call center, they're able to trace the call that somebody called and dropped the phone and they call back at the cost of road accident fund, because in the main this time around it will be claimants themselves. What the lawyers are doing, Chairperson, they go to RAF and claim. They give RAF the number of the self-contact details of the claimant. Then they go to the claimant. They make them to get another number, not the one that is remaining with Road Accident Fund. So as and when Road Accident Fund wants to call the claimant, they're not able to get reach the claimant because the number has already been changed. When that happens and they pay the lawyer, the 5.6 million rand will never inform the claimant that over and above the 4.6 money, you still qualify to have somebody to take care of you at the cost of Road Accident Fund. Because when they do that, then the claimant will then ask them the questions. So there's quite a lot of things that Road Accident Fund is dealing with, which is definitely will make them to be in the news for many reasons, because it's educated people that are behind all those things, not just ordinary South Africans. But when you do the call-in programs, the South Africans, they actually usually take the side of RAF, because many of them will come to you, Chairperson, as you say, to say we've claimed, we don't know where our claim is. There is a lawyer, believe you me, behind that. And when you check with Road Accident Fund, you'll find that Road Accident Fund settled the matter some time ago, but the claimant is not aware. And the information at RAF has already been changed. They have a wrong number. The claimant has changed the number. This is what is happening. This is what we're dealing with. At least I have actually been dealing with RAF ever since I joined the department, because it was delegated to me at some stage for quite some time. So I'm not talking about something that I'm not aware of. How do you deal with the 5.6 million rand? That's another matter. How do you assist this person to get the 5.6 million rand? It's somewhere with the lawyers. Is it the only one? It's not. It's many of them. In fact, it's in the majority than the minority. But the Road Accident Fund Act, Chairperson, was drafted by lawyers for lawyers. Thank you very much. I thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair. Mayor Ramad, I hope you see the work that is before the Portfolio Committee, because the issue of the amendments was flagged. Unfortunately, we are not empowered as this committee to deal with legislation, but I think colleagues, there may be a need for us to interact with the Portfolio Committee and make our recommendations and so on. But the quicker that moves, the better. That matter has been flagged for us. That said, Minister, let's make RAF work, circumstances notwithstanding, on that particular matter, and still implore you, Minister, to look at the other matters that we have flagged. But I think there is urgency on the issue of the amendments to the RAF Act, and I think it was brought to our attention, and its need cannot be understated. Let me try again. Colleagues, thank you very much for a long year, a good year. I said goodbye last week. Let me do it again. Take care. Be safe on the roads. And may the break be fulfilling for those of us in the political space. Recharge your batteries for the election campaign. Madam Chair of RAF, to you and your team, the board members, thank you very much. CEO and your team, thank you. SIU, thank you. Acting DG, thank you. AG, thank you very much once again, and to the members of the media who are here, and to our ever capable support team. Thank you very much. It's a storm between the team. Thank you very much for everything this year. Colleagues, the meeting stands adjourned. uNkulunkulu mosanigcina nithanda nihlenga nilondoloza.
Amen. Hallelujah. 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 But Minister, refer the 5.2 to SIU. Yeah, they must follow it. That is pathetic. Immoral. Enter again. SIU.